Get ready for Hosts at Home, Adam's Archives. It's time for the game that takes you back in time. Let's go back. And now, here's the host of Let's Go Back, Scott Sternberg.
Thank you very much, and thank you. Another version of Let's Go Back now, a chance for you to put on your thinking caps and try to answer some questions from back when. We also have three players over here, Doris, Ronnie, and Jess. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Feel well?
Sort of.
Sort of. All right. Doris, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Doris Beers. I'm a performance poet, and I've spent about the last 3 weeks mapping Fresno.
Why?
For street trees and frontage and the median strips and things, but it's been an interesting abstract experience.
Is that something new for you, or is that something you do often?
I work in graphics on the Macintosh, but I've never had a city before.
Are you going to do another city?
Not anytime soon.
No. Okay. How about your poetry now? You say you're a performing,
poet.
which means what?
Which means that my poetry doesn't always make sense on the page, but when I perform it, it comes to life.
Okay. And how about nostalgia now? Fill us in. 50s, 60s, 70s?
Oh, I started watching Bandstand with my grandmother when I was 3 in the 50s.
Right.
And I was a draft counselor in the 60s, in Washington in the 70s, and tried to ignore the 80s.
So you'll do just fine in this game.
Oh, I hope.
Staying away from the 80s, hopefully. All right, Doris, good luck. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. My name is Ronnie Alacino, and I'm originally from New Hope, Pennsylvania, which I'm sure you've heard of that.
I have.
Metropolis. And I teach aerobics, although that's not good enough these days. You have to specialize, so I specialize in step.
In step aerobics?
Yeah.
Do you have a up and down?
Yeah, that's one.
Do you have any special way of teaching?
Well, my biggest skill is that I can do stand-up comedy and step at the same time. What I do is I make sure they're really tired. They've been stepping for 45 minutes, and they're delirious, and then I tell jokes so they have to laugh.
But that's a good routine. Have you tried that in like clubs or anything like that?
I'm thinking about it.
No, I think that'll work.
My step out.
The first aerobic stand-up comedian. What do you think? I think that would work.
I'll give you a percentage.
All right. That's all right. You don't have to give me a percentage. It's free. It's free.
You.
All right. You're welcome. You ready to play the game?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Good luck, Ronnie. Hi, Jess.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
Tell us about you.
My name is Jess Vargas, and I was born and birthed in Los Angeles. I'm married. I've got a lovely wife, Susan, two adorable children, Elisa Anais and Acacia Teal. And I'm an editorial and research assistant. I really like the Lakers and basketball, and I go around in purple a lot because of that. And I have a great interest in psychotronic movies.
Psychotronic.
Psychotronic.
For those of us who don't know psychotronic, what is that?
That's a term for usually the low-budget exploitation, crazy kind of films that when you see it, you say, what were they thinking of when they made this movie?
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that? We'll find you often in those video rental stores, right?
Too often.
Too often.
Much too often.
All right. How about nostalgia?
I kind of slur through the 60s and 70s.
You slurred.
Slurred, yeah. So that's, when I remember back then, I say either one of those are pretty good for me.
All right, let's take a look at the categories now for round number 1. And we start at the very top with number 1 hits. Bestsellers, Movie Johns, Workplaces on the Tube, and Music Notes. 10 points for each correct answer. We'll take the 10 away if you are incorrect. We also have a time capsule hidden behind one of our decades. We have a special nostalgic prize there. And Charlie O, what is it?
Hawkeye and PJ from MASH are split up into this 150-piece jigsaw puzzle, which will give you hours of fun. The pieces are all interlocking. When you finish putting the puzzle together the first time, break it up immediately and try again. It's the MASH puzzle, our time capsule prize for this round. Scott?
Okay, thank you. Charlie O'Donnell, and that puzzle will be somebody's if they get the correct answer. We drew numbers before the show, and Doris, you were successful at that.
Okay.
And you get the first pick, decade category. Let's go back.
Let's go back to the 60s for bestsellers.
Life magazine called her the housewife who liberated every woman when she wrote The Feminine Mystique in 1963. Doris.
Betty Friedan.
Yes. Go.
Let's go back to the 70s for bestsellers.
This Tom Wolfe book told the inside story of the first 7 astronauts. Jess.
The Right Stuff?
The Right Stuff. Okay, Jess, go again.
Okay, let's go back to the 70s with Movie Johns.
He won an Academy Award for his role as Professor Kingsfield in The Paper Chase. Jess.
John Houseman.
John Houseman. And what's the little line he used to give in all of the commercials?
We will sell no wine before it's time.
Did he do that commercial also? I don't think so. Yes, that's right. And he earned it. Go, Jess.
Okay, let's go back to the 60s and try some more Movie Johns.
In 1960, John Wayne produced, directed, and starred in this film about a small mission in Texas. Doris.
True Grit?
No. The Alamo. Jess, go again.
Let's go back to the 80s and try some more Movie Johns.
In 1988, Glenn Close co-starred in Dangerous Liaisons with this low-key Hollywood John. Ronnie.
John Malkovich.
You're on the board, Ronnie. Good. And we're going to take a short break here. Jess has 20, Ronnie has 10, Doris at 0, but you will get points, Doris. I feel it. More of round number 1 right here on Let's Go Back in just a minute.
Let's go back.
All right, time now for more of round number 1. Ronnie, you had the last correct answer. Pick again.
Let's go back to the 70s for Workplaces on the Tube.
Margaret Pynchon was the publisher of the Los Angeles Tribune on this show. Jess.
Lou Grant.
Lou Grant, correct. Go.
Okay, let's go back to the 60s and do Workplaces on the Tube.
McMahon and Tate was the advertising agency that employed this mortal husband on Bewitched. Ronnie.
Darren Stevens.
That's right. That's what I got here. Darren Stevens. Good. Go again.
Okay, let's go back to 50s for Movie Johns.
Jungle Moon Men, Jungle Manhunt, and Jungle Maneaters starred this former Olympic champion. Doris.
Johnny Weissmuller.
Johnny Weissmuller, right. Okay, go again.
Let's go back to the 80s for Workplaces on the Tube.
On Designing Women, this is the name of their interior decorating business. Doris.
Sugar Bakers.
2 in a row now for you, Doris. Go again.
Let's go back to the 50s for Workplaces on the Tube.
And it's the time capsule, Doris. All right, you have a chance now for the MASH puzzle. We're also going to double the points. You're going to have 20 now. We're not going to take it away if you're wrong. It's an easy one. You ready to go? Ronnie and Jess got to sit this one out. 50s Workplaces on the Tube. Ricky Ricardo spent much of his time trying to keep Lucy off the stage of this Manhattan nightclub.
The Copacabana.
No, Doris. Ronnie, you know? What is it?
It's the, I'm at the club. It's the Tropicana.
It is. It's the Tropicana. Sorry, Doris. No points for you, Ronnie, but thanks for the answer. Appreciate that. Doris, you're still in control. Go again.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to the 50s for bestsellers.
This Tough Private Eye was a Mickey Spillane favorite. Jess.
Mike Hammer.
Correct.
Okay, let's go back to the 80s and get bestsellers.
In 1984, she wrote the first of her famous autobiographies, Out on a Limb. Ronnie.
Shirley MacLaine.
Yes.
Yes. Let's go back to the 70s for #1 hits.
Grand Funk sang about Sweet, Sweet Connie from Omaha in this song. We're an American band.
Oh, yeah, right.
Did you know that, Jess?
I should have.
You should have. Okay. Go, Go, Ronnie.
Let's go back to the 60s, #1 hits.
The Marvelettes sang this song that ended Deliver de letter, de sooner de better. Doris.
Please, Mr. Postman.
Please, Mr. Postman, right you are. Go.
Let's go back to the 80s for #1 hits.
Jesse's Girl was the only #1 hit by this soap opera star. Jess.
Rick Springfield.
Correct. And the soap opera was?
General Hospital.
Right. Okay, Jess, in the lead now. Go.
All right, let's go to the 80s and try music notes.
Careless Whisper, which was released as a solo in Britain, was released in this country by Wham, featuring this singer. Jess.
George Michael.
George Michael. Correct. Go again.
Okay, let's go to the 70s and do music notes.
In 1976, a court ruled that George Harrison's song My Sweet Lord was the very same song as this 1963 hit by the Chiffons. Ronnie.
He's so fine.
He's so fine.
Okay.
Ronnie is getting into it. You feel the energy.
Let's go.
Is that true, Ronnie?
Yes.
Okay. Second place is yours. Ready?
Calm.
Step up on that step.
All right.
Go.
Let's go back to the 60s for music notes.
The only top 40 Japanese song in the entire rock era was released in the U.S. with this food name as its title. Sukiyaki. Released in 1963 by Q Sakamoto. But I think on the radio they used to call him Todd Sakamoto. No, it's true, I swear. Check it. Okay, Ronnie, go again.
Okay, let's go back to the 50s. Music notes.
His real name was Andreas Cornelius Van Kujic, but he used this name as Elvis Presley's manager. Doris.
Colonel Parker.
Yes, Colonel Tom Parker. Tied now with Ronnie for second place. Go again, Doris.
Okay, let's go back to the 50s for #1 hits.
Of course, I would have known that. This is the last question of round number 1. This was the only #1 hit for the Kingston Trio. Ronnie.
Tom Dooley.
Is right. Yeah. Ronnie, good job. And that is the end of round number 1. We have a very close game. Jess at 60, Ronnie at 50, Doris at 40. We'll be back with round number 2 where all the scores and all the points and everything will double. Who knows? We'll see you then. Come on back.
And now let's go back to more fun with Scott Sternberg.
Okay, we're back, and we'll keep things moving along here. Round number 2 is coming up, and let's see. We have Jess in the lead with 60. Ronnie's got 50. Doris got 40. A very close game. Ronnie, you had the last correct answer. Are you happy about that?
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready to go?
You bet.
Okay, well, let me tell you the categories first now. For round number 2, it is very important that we do this now. First, on Broadway. Military TV. Music Gals, Headlines, and Blasts from the Past. 20 points now for each correct answer. 20 points we take away if you are wrong. We also have another time capsule prize hidden behind one of our decades. Charlie O'Donnell, tell us please what it is.
You'll never go thirsty again with this terrific set of 2 tall Superman glasses. You and a friend will drink in luxury with pictures of Superman standing and flying on one glass and saving Lois Lane on the other. Superman saves the day and your thirst with these great glasses. Good luck.
The Superman glass set available in this round. Okay, now Ronnie, you have control. You ready to go? A decade in a category. Round number 2 is underway.
All right, let's go back to the 80s on Broadway.
She was the title character that asked, "Don't cry for me, Argentina." Ronnie.
Eva Perón.
Judges.
Evita Perón.
No? Sorry, Doris, Jess.
Evita.
Jess. Evita. We needed Evita. That was the name of the title character. Sorry, Ronnie.
That's
Jess.
Okay.
In control. Go.
Okay, let's go back to the 50s and military TV.
And it's the time capsule, Jess.
Yes. I want those glasses.
He wants those glasses.
Yes.
Okay. 50s military TV. We're going to double the points. It's going to be worth 40 points for you, all by yourself. Ronnie, Doris, got to sit this one out. Here's the question. 50s military TV. Debuting in 1959, Abby Dalton co-starred as Nurse Hale on this Jackie Cooper sitcom.
Sergeant Hennessy?
No, Jess, sorry, Hennessy. Hennessy was the answer. Go again.
Okay, let's go back to the 60s and Music Gals.
Discovered by Twiggy, this singer hit the pop charts with the haunting tune, "Those Were the Days." Ronnie.
Tommy Tune.
No. Jess.
Marianne Faithfull.
No. Good guesses. Mary Hopkins. Go again, Jess.
Okay, let's go back to the 70s, Music Gals.
In 1971, Melanie had a brand new pair of roller skates in this song. Ronnie.
What's it called? I got a brand new pair of roller skates.
Oh, sorry. Doris. Jess.
Brand New Key.
Brand New Key. Jess, go again.
Okay, let's go back to the 80s for Music Gals.
She had 7 #1 singles between 1985 and 1988, starting with Saving All My Love for You. Whitney Houston. Jess, go again.
Oh, well, let's try the 50s and music gals.
Known as Little Miss Dynamite, she wasn't exactly whispering when she belted out Sweet Nothings. Brenda Lee. We'll get it in a second. Go, Jess.
All right, let's go back to the 70s and try Blasts from the Past.
She wrote about the exploits of Isadora Wing in the sexual romp Fear of Flying. Ronnie.
That would be Jong, Erica Jong.
Right, Ronnie. Good. Back on track. Go.
Okay, let's go back to the 70s on Broadway.
This 1975 show won Best Musical Score, which included the song Ease On Down the Road. Jess.
The Wiz.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to the 60s for some military TV.
When Gomer Pyle joined the Marines, he found himself constantly at odds with this gruff superior played by Frank Sutton, Jess.
Okay, Sergeant Carter.
Sergeant Carter.
Okay.
Go again, Jess.
Let's go back to the 70s for military TV.
A series about a squadron of misfit flyers in the South Pacific starred Robert Conrad as this World War II flying ace. Jess.
Black Sheep.
No. Ronnie.
Baba Black Sheep.
No.
Sergeant Black.
Are you guessing, Doris? Yes. No, it was Major Pappy Boyington. That's what we were looking for from Baba Black Sheep. All right, Jess, go again.
Okay, let's go back to the 80s for military TV.
As U.S. Army Captain Doreen Lewis, Eileen Brennan tried to mold this New York socialite into a soldier. Ronnie.
Private Benjamin.
Yes, played by?
Goldie Hawn.
And then in the television series?
I don't remember her name.
Lorna Patterson.
That's one.
Okay, go, Ronnie.
Let's go back to the 60s on Broadway.
The Berlin locale in the title of this 1966 musical was more specifically called the Kit Kat Club. Ronnie.
You want the name of the musical, right? Cabaret. I'm sorry.
Yes, Ronnie, that's what we wanted. You get the points. Go again.
Let's go back to the 50s on Broadway, please.
In the 1955 musical, a man sells his soul to the devil so that this Washington team can beat the damn Yankees. Doris.
The Senators.
Yes, it was the Senators.
Okay.
Go again.
Let's go back to the 70s for headlines.
After a grueling 121-day trial, Charles Manson was found guilty of murder due to the work of this prosecutor. Vincent Bugliosi. Go again, Doris.
Let's go back to the 60s for headlines.
The North Vietnamese army launched a massive offensive attack against the South on the first day of this Asian holiday. Doris.
Tet.
Yes. You now have second place, Doris. Go again.
Okay, let's go back to the 50s for headlines.
At the University of Pittsburgh in 1953, he headed a team of scientists who won the battle against polio. Jess?
Jonas Salk.
Yes, Dr. Jonas Salk. Vaccine originally called the Pitt polio vaccine. Go, Jess.
Let's go back to the 60s, Blasts from the Past.
Jerry Lewis not only played this title character, but made his directing debut in this 1960 film set in Miami Beach in a hotel. Jess.
The Bellboy?
It was the Bellboy.
Okay.
Go again.
All right, let's go back to the 80s, Blasts from the Past.
After Kim Carnes won a Grammy for this song, the actress sent her roses. Jess.
Betty Davis Eyes.
Betty Davis Eyes is right, Jess. Doing very well now. Go again.
Let's go to the 50s, Blasts from the Past.
He hosted a kids show in his trademark squashed hat and checkered coat. Jess.
Pinky Lee.
Pinky Lee is right. Last question now, round number 2, 80s headlines. Nancy Reagan returned to acting for a brief moment in 1983 when she played herself in an anti-drug episode of this sitcom. Jess again.
Different Strokes.
Is right, Jess. Doing very well. That is the end of round number 2. And Jess in the lead with 200. Doris has 60, Ronnie has 30, and we're all going to play the final decades round. We're going to find a winner. Come on back. See you then. Bye-bye. All right, back now. Time for the final decades round. We are going to get a winner right now. Jess did splendidly. 200 for you, Jess. You will need 4 correct answers for the win. Doris, in second place, you'll need 5 correct answers. And Ronnie, stepping up, 6 correct answers for the win. $500 for the first person to get there. And I need all of your answers in the form of decades. Ready to go?
Okay.
Here's your first question. In which decade did Alex Haley publish Roots? Jess.
70s.
Yes, 1976. In which decade was the Central Park reunion concert of Simon and Garfunkel? Ronnie.
The 1980s.
Yes, 1981. In which decade did the U.S. ban DDT? Doris.
60s.
Yes, 1969. In which decade did the fugitive finally catch the one-armed man? Jess.
60s.
Yes, 1967. In which decade was a Supreme Court appointment given to Earl Warren? Jess.
50s.
Yes, 1953. One more, Jess will do it for you. In which decade did the movie Airport premiere? Ronnie.
1970s.
Yes, 1970.
I just wanted to block.
In which decade did the Roman Catholic Church have 3 different popes? Ronnie.
1970s.
Yes, 1978. In which decade did the Platters hit #1 with My Prayer? Ronnie.
1950s.
Yes, 1956. In which decade did the FDA approve the baldness remedy minoxidil? Ronnie.
1980s.
Yes, 1988. One more for you, Ronnie will win it. In which decade did we see the first self-wringing mop? Jess.
60s.
1961, and Jess, you have won. Good job, Jess. You did very well. Ronnie was charging at the very end. You got down to just 1, Ronnie, and you did very well. Doris, did you have a good time?
Yeah.
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 You did very well. Ronnie, you almost had it.
Thank you.
I think the audience actually was rooting.
They like the underdog.
They were rooting, right? And Jess, $500 for you. Thanks very much. The Lakers, they're rebuilding.
They will do that.
Keep your fingers crossed. We'll say goodbye now. I'm Scott Sternberg. Join us again, please, on Let's Go Back. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Let's go back. Let's go back.